This is Friday Night Fever Afterburn, sponsored by Arena Comics and Gaming.
Hi y'all, welcome back for another week of Friday Night Fever Afterburn. We have officially made it to week 10.
Week double digits.
Week 10. I'm Delaney Vega, as always.
I'm Karli Koskovich. And you were out tonight.
Yeah, I was out tonight. Do the scores first?
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's late and I'm tired. All right, the game I was at, it was 68-28, Walton taking that county and district win over Freeport. And then we have North Bay Haven, Delaney was at that game, versus Bozeman. They played at Arnold, 35-12, Bozeman. And then Bay over Rutherford, 65-20. And then this one was actually a close game, Blountstown, Holmes County, 48-20.
Probably the closest game
I'd say
Blountstown this year.
Yeah, against Blountstown, that is a very close score, so we move on.
And then Vernon going on the road to Cottondale, 54-6, pretty dominant win. Franklin County going on the road to North Florida Christian, one of the closer games that we've seen tonight, 48-42, pretty high scoring.
Yeah, it's a tough loss.
Well, and then this was last night, Gulf Breeze and Mosley. Mosley had a lot of fun in this game. They ended up putting a bunch of second strings in and just having some fun with it.
It was another district matchup.
With a running clock as well, 54-14, Dolphins versus Dolphins. And then Taylor County visiting Mariana, 50-7.
Yeah, Mariana's had a tough season. Yes. And then our next page, we have Liberty County shutout over Hilliard, 49-0.
Sixth game.
Six game winning streak. Good job, Bulldogs. And then we have another shutout, Chipley Tigers 35-0 over Jefferson County. And then we have Jay and Weewa Hitchka, Royals taking that one 45-14. And then Port St. Joe and Baker winning that one 24-15 at Port St. Joe.
That's right. I do think we have two more. Yep. Big game tonight, South Walton, Pensacola Catholic. That was for their district, and I do know it was pretty close going into the half. And then actually, it might have been 24-13 going into the half, and I don't think they scored after that. But South Walton took that loss on the road, 13-24. And then Arnold last night went over to Rickards, and that game was 32-13.
Yeah, we had some closer games, and then not as many shutouts, and I think...
last week we saw a lot.
That's what I was going to say. It's a different pattern this week in games, I would say. But we can get right into, do you want to do your game first, the North Bay Haven?
Should we go to a 3-shot?
All right. Now we have our guest. Would you like to do the honors?
Yes. This week, finally, we have another guest on. It's going to be Arnold's head coach Jason Griffin. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
We're happy to have you on a Friday. We know you played last night, so another long night for you. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, it was a late one last night, but you got a little day off today. So.
Do you want to do a little post-game commentary? I know we're a day later. You can now sit in your thoughts and just kind of reflect on that game last night.
Yeah, we had a lead going into halftime, and we were playing pretty well. Some of the best football we played all season. Our defense played well, and they've been playing well pretty much all year. Offense was showing some signs of life, and then we had in the second half we probably set a state record for penalties. It was had a lot of penalties, a lot of things go against us in the second half, and we weren't able to come away with it. But the kids played hard; they kept fighting to the end, and I could not have been more proud of our football team and how they represented our school and myself over there last night. It was a tough environment and a tough situation to be in, and our kids really made me proud in how they handled it.
All right.
It's also on the road, bit of a long ways. What is that? 2 hours?
Yeah, somewhere around 2 hours over there. It was their senior night. Yeah, it was
sitting on a bus for 2 hours, then trying to get off of it and play 4 quarters.
Well, that's part of it, But our guys, they did well, and I'm proud of our football team.
You get a nice close game next week against Rutherford. So.
Yeah, gonna go over here to Tommy Oliver and play Rutherford. I haven't. I think last year we had them at our place, so that's. I don't know if you guys know that's. I'm a Rutherford alumni.
Yeah.
That's where I played and where I went to school. So it's always nice to play that game, and I think the world of Albert Floyd and those guys over there. So I look forward to next week's matchup and wrapping up the season, hopefully in a really positive way for us.
Yeah, we'll definitely be out at that game, so we're excited for that one.
Yeah, nice and close for us.
Yeah, seriously. All right, we'll get into North Bay Haven and Bozeman.
Yep, that's the game that I was at. I was actually over at Gap Black because North Bay Haven can't host, but nonetheless, first quarter was a lot of back and forth. I will tell you, these kids were riled up. That's going to be Hayden Gay with a handoff to Melvin Mons, who also had quite a night for himself. North Bay Haven's going to show a little bit of signs of life. That's Caleb Mazinski. Out to Fame Walker. That is a name that I don't think we see enough as well. You know, I always try to pull names that you think about. Fame Walker, I think, is one of them. And I know they have 11. That's Tay Brooks as well. They've got really great hands. But they just could not keep it going. They didn't convert on that drive. And that's going to be a little pitch from Hayden Gay over to Lane Rogers. And he's going to do that kind of again on this next play. He's going to throw kind of a dart to him. They honestly tricked me out a little bit on this play. Sorry about that shakiness. Back to Lane Rogers, and
he loves the camera.
Loving it. Direct eye contact, got right up on me for that. And Mazinski, I just think North Bay Haven was struggling a little bit to find they couldn't find a run, I will say that. And then kind of struggling also to find his receivers. That was a little bit short, and that was to Riley McNeil, who also had a night. I will say I did not put these in the highlights, but off of a missed field goal attempt, it was way short. I think they might have tipped it. A missed field goal attempt from North Bay Haven. Riley McNeil is going to end up running it for about 50 yards back and put them back on the other side of the ball. I think Riley McNeil had such a night. I mean, Hayden Gay was looking good as always. I mean, they really just controlled this whole game from start to finish.
I think also Coach Pettis is such a defensive-oriented coach. He has preached that since I met him, and since his past, I know that as well. So I think teams that get under Bozeman notoriously have difficulty coming out on top because it's almost this extra layer of defensive power that he knows how to do and how to shut down. So yeah, it's a tough loss, but
you see that tonight. You could see that. I mean, North Bay Haven was unfortunately struggling to get that run game going, and then obviously
I do think
a pick as well.
This is a better score than last year's matchup between Bucks and Bozeman and North Bay Haven.
Bucks and Bucks.
Bucks and Bucks, yeah. I can't quite remember what that was, but I know that this point difference is a little bit smaller. So, I mean...
here it is. Sorry, that's Riley McNeil.
Oh, okay.
That was off the field goal attempt, and he's going to run it all the way back up to, I think it was like the 40, 35 maybe. Get right back on the ball. North Bay Haven just wasn't able to convert. Those 12 points came after I left. It was 21-0 when I left. So signs of life from North Bay Haven. I still think they've got a lot of great weapons over there. I think they're going to be able. They're
just on the come up, I think. Coach, do you have any? We'll get Coach back up on here. I mean, you've obviously seen North Bay Haven go fluctuating a little bit. So just kind of the point they're at with, like this point in the season, they've
Coach
gone.
Edwards as well.
Yeah, and I've worked with Caleb Muzinski, a little bit. My first spring over at Arnold, and he's a talented kid, and he's doing a great job over there. Got a nice receiver over there, that's really doing a great job, and there seems to be a little bit of excitement with the coach. Hopefully they'll get some stability in that program. I know they've had some hard times in the past, and hopefully they're on the way up. And it's like anything else. All Bay County football. If it's all good, it's good for everyone. So I'd like to see North Bay Haven kind of bring that back. And it seems like Coach Evans over there doing a fine job, and hopefully they got brighter things ahead of them. So.
Yeah, and do you have anything you want to say on Bozeman, another Bay County school?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit familiar with those.
I know you're a little bit familiar.
Yeah, happy for those guys out there. Kind of getting back on that winning tradition out there, and a lot of familiarity with Hayden, and Coach is his older brother Peyton, and so we got a lot of ties there, a lot of familiarity. Had a lot of success out there, and I'm happy those guys are keeping that rolling out there, and see where they go from here. So.
That's awesome. Okay. And we can get right into Freeport and Walton, little Walton County showdown. And yeah, it was senior night, so it was pretty fun. Immediately, we are talking first play of the game. That is Carter Noons to Julius Miles. Pushing it, I thought it was a touchdown, but he went to the 1 and then pushed in for the touchdown. So yes, that is 6, because they did not convert. And then right after Braves, this was back and forth. And like you said, I think that was kind of the pattern of this week. Immediately Walton scores, and that's Eli Odom. He had, I don't even know how many touchdowns he had, because apparently Walton ended up scoring 40 more points in the second half. So I can't really comment on that. But I mean, Julius Miles scores 3-4 touchdowns in just the 2 quarters I'm there. So this is Charlie Womble. He's actually a freshman. I didn't know Y16 was going everywhere and everywhere. And I was like, who is this kid? I don't know why I haven't noticed him yet. But Charlie Womble had a huge night tonight. And
he's got some wheels on him.
Yeah.
He's pretty fast.
He played wonderfully. I know he's a freshman, so that's definitely going to be a threat to be reckoned with in these coming years, as of most of the Walton Braves football team. Here's Eli Odom once again. He gets so excited. It's actually really funny. But no, I know that this was a tough game. It was super close within the first quarter. And even going into the second quarter, we were going, like I said, back and forth. And then Braves started taking the lead because they were able to convert those 2-point conversions. And that was something Freeport struggles with.
Okay.
I've noticed that it's tough for them to convert on 2-point conversions, and even some PATs, these extra points actually start to make a difference, and they start adding up. And we started to see that as it got toward halftime, those little points started to add up. And so I think that's first when Walton started to kind of take charges. Yes, this is a tough game. Yes, they have these players and these players, but we're still winning by 3. We're still winning. We're still winning. So I think that probably played a role into the second half, them scoring 40 more points.
Yeah, and I know Walton was somewhat struggling through the season, and then we saw them last week play against Bay, and we saw some pretty great things with them against Bay, because Bay is a pretty big powerhouse.
No, for sure.
And we saw them show some life against Bay, and then boom, right back to life against Freeport.
No, they took a tough loss against Bay, and I remember it could have honestly gone either way at one point in the game. So I think the fact that it's almost like they're right there right now, but we're going into week 11. Yeah. That's the tough part.
Yeah.
So, but then again, this is a very young team, and the potential, I only see them going higher. So, yeah.
Definitely.
And then do you want to get into that next game?
Yeah.
It's going to be Blountstown and Holmes County. That was a big old game.
Right. Oh, yeah. Probably one of the closer games that we've seen for Blountstown. I know Holmes County was also on a 5-game winning streak going into this game. So a lot of momentum from both sides of the field, honestly. But right off, Jalen Jones was their QB, but right back, they're going to score on their first drive, and then right back, Holmes County is going to answer right away. So like you said, back and forth through this week, a lot of changes that we saw from week 9 when we saw so many blowouts and shutouts, and we're now seeing a lot of back and forth.
I think the fact that Blountstown was able to give up 20 points, that is a win for Holmes County. I knew that this was a game they were looking forward to, the Blue Devils, and I think they came out, I mean, I wish I could have been at this game, but it looks like they came out on fire, and then unfortunately, Blountstown just does what Blountstown does and puts up. I'm assuming they went on a roll at one point. Yeah, they got on a roll, and then it probably, that
was DeMarcus Roberts, I believe.
I haven't heard enough about him this season, to be honest.
I mean, it looks like look at him. He's loving it. It looks like he got great hands. I haven't seen Blountstown since, I think, oh my gosh, week 1 against Liberty County.
I haven't been at Blountstown for a while.
But I mean, Jalen Jones, I think he's a very poised quarterback from what I've seen, from what we've seen from our reporters bringing back to us, just because we haven't seen
right. No, for sure. Yeah. I think Jalen Jones is great, and I think he's only going to get better as because he's not a senior. I believe he's a junior. So, I mean, Coach, you obviously played both of these teams. So, or you guys played Holmes County this season, correct?
No. But I
apologize.
the Womble kid, his dad is Kevin Womble, who's the head coach of Holmes County, and so he's a coach's kid. So that explains a little bit about why he's probably a little bit ahead of the curve. So,
as a freshman,
and Kevin's a D-line coach over at Walton now, so they do a good job over there.
Just based on what you saw tonight, kind of just the final score of Holmes County putting up 20 points over Blountstown.
Like you said, if the coaches really aren't in the business of moral victories, but it's a great job by Holmes County of hanging in there and playing them tough. That stadium over there in Holmes County is a place to go play, particularly after the rodeo. So they have a lot of advantage on that home turf. I've had that experience over there, and it's they defend their house pretty well. So it's a tough place to go win for anybody, and they showed that tonight. So good for those guys for putting up such a fight, because the Omari Thomas guy. I mean, those guys. I mean, Blountstown's a incredibly talented football teams.
No, for sure. I remember. Yeah, I know the sand at some point. I mean, have you played at the Bonifay Rodeo Stadium before?
Yeah, we played after it. Actually, a couple years ago at Bozeman, we played there to get to the. We played them in the last game of the last game of the season.
Okay.
I think that was our 10th win for a perfect regular season.
Oh, okay.
That night, and then we played them at our place in the regional final to go to the Final Four. So, but yeah, we played over there, and there was, the turf gets a little chopped up and the sand. Yeah, it's what it is, But both teams got to play on it. But Holmes County has a pretty good advantage, with that surface after all that, and they do a good job, kind of navigating it.
They know how to work with the ground. They use it to their advantage, like you said.
Absolutely.
So, okay. And then we'll get into the Bay and Rutherford game. And yeah, it was homecoming for Bay. We were not at this one again, but notorious MJ Wilkerson into the end zone just like that. And I think this is a pattern for tonight. I know that it was a tough game over at Tommy Oliver for the Rutherford Rams. Zabion Morgan just kind of grinding through that, and he finds DJ Davenport. DJ Davenport has been such a asset to the Bay High Tornadoes this season, and it doesn't surprise me. Right here we have, oh my gosh, look at how excited he is. I believe that's DJ Davenport again. Our video is a little shaky there, but yeah, they put up 65 over Rutherford 20. Yes. That's a tough game. But
something to mention was that Rutherford's starting quarterback was not playing tonight. Jaleel Reed, he's out.
He tore his Achilles.
Yes. So I think that also played into a little bit. We've talked about him. Was it last week that we talked about him? How?
Yes, I believe we confirmed it last week that he was injured and tore his Achilles. Yeah. So it's really tough for the sophomore quarterback. But
bit of a setback.
But I genuinely believe Jaleel is going to be very good, and he already is, and I think he's only going to grow from this, and I think kind of him going through this injury as a sophomore, it's either going to do two things. It's going to, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger,
Make or break him.
Yeah, it's going to make or break him, and I think what I would hope to see from Jaleel is his major bounce back, and next season as a junior, he really controls that offense in the Rutherford Rams. So,
and the coach had also mentioned even his receivers and his running backs, they're all young over there.
Right. So, oh gosh, you guys are kind of a younger team this year, would you say?
Yeah, well, we've got some seniors that they're pretty good football players, but we've got a really, really good group of young guys.
That's what I thought. So what's kind of some of the advantages of having a younger set team?
Well, as you're changing things and sort of developing a culture, having young guys that kind of go through your system and with you a long time, as you're there 2, 3, 4 years, you sort of, they become your guys and kind of acclimated to how you do things and what your expectations, what your accountability is. So, it's sometimes it's tough having young guys because, you're gonna have those bumps and, there's all kind of coaches sayings where if you for every freshman you start or sophomore you start, you're going to lose this many games, et cetera. So, but at the same time, on the back end of that thing is those kids mature and grow up and play a lot of football. And that's one thing for us. We had a lot of young kids playing football and probably have the best freshman class that we have this year that I've ever seen. I've never been around a group of freshmen coming in that is as good as what we have coming in now. So, with the young guys that we have in our program and the freshmen coming in, the future's bright if we can keep them all together and we can keep the transfer portal and all those things from hurting us too bad. We got a chance to be pretty good moving down the road. But it's always nice having those young guys. I know Albert, he's got a great young group, and the Reed kid is. I know you said pretty good, but I think the kid is incredibly special.
Yeah, he's great.
He's absolutely.
I've been saying that. I'm glad you agree.
Player. When I watched him the other night, I caught that game last Thursday night, and just that kid's special. And then all those young guys, I could not believe how hard they played and how tough they were. They were kind of outsized and that sort of thing, but they played tough, they played hard, and the Reed kid is just unbelievably special. And to have that setback, I know that probably pretty deflating for Rutherford to
absolutely,
because he's probably the heart and soul of that group right now.
No, absolutely. I mean, we had Coach Floyd and Coach Knaus in here a couple weeks ago, and they called him a genius, and I thought that was a big word at first, and then I went and saw him play, and I was like, it's the way he carries himself, the way he holds the ball, he protects the ball. Like, it's a different way. He moves differently than other quarterbacks I've seen recently, and it's special.
It is. I could not agree with you more. It's pretty special.
So awesome.
And you could probably even just not meeting him if you look at some of his stats, which we pulled last week as well. I mean, you can see what he's doing game in and game out, and
he's just a sophomore too.
Yeah.
So he only has room to grow. So
it could be scary good.
I'm excited to see
I do
it.
think that we should address. Did you have the South Walton score, Becca? Sorry, I don't have it off the top of my head. Someone's just asking for that. I don't have it off the top of my head.
I believe it was 24-13.
24-13.
Pensacola
Catholic did win that. Did we have the Blountstown score as well? 48-20.
Yeah,
48 to 20 was that one as well. For those of you asking, hopefully you're still around to hear that.
Okay, I think we should get in, since we have Coach Griffin here, we should get into just kind of some of the Arnold highlights from over the season. I have some stats pulled up from just kind of this season, and they're honestly very interesting. I know Charlie Cotter, well, this is his brother, Will, but Charlie Cotter leads your guys' team with nearly 10 tackles a game, and then Dalen Davis is not far behind. What do you have to say on those two players?
I could talk all day about both of them. I'll tell you, if you watched Charlie Cotter play last night, he was absolutely phenomenal. He made a lot of plays. He's physical. You know, he's a kid that loves to play football, but he loves to strike. He loves to hit. He loves the physicality of it. And again, he was impressive to watch last night. And Dalen Davis is impressive to watch every night. I mean, both of those guys just they're as good a football players as anybody have. They're not. They're not. With Dalen playing down there on the defensive line, he's not a huge guy, but he plays like he's twice his size. And I think. A couple weeks ago against Mosley, it looked like Mosley schemed around him. And that's a pretty big compliment when they're trying to work away from a guy, because he's that much of an impact. And and Josh has done a great job on that side of the ball with those guys. And both Dalen and Charlie are just outstanding football players, and both underclassmen. They're both they're both got another year to develop and play, and they could be scary good as well. Moving forward.
I want to talk about another player who plays like double his size, Darren Elder.
Oh, good.
46. He averages 46.4 yards a game, and I believe he's had more than 5 touchdowns. I'm just looking at Max Preps, and that's what I see right now. But just from what I've seen, I've known him for a little bit, and even last year he was great. I knew he'd get better this season, and he has. And he is just really, I feel like, become a major piece of your guys' team culture.
Yeah, on both sides of the ball, with what he does on the defensive side of the ball, he's a shutdown corner. He's a kid that even though he's not he's not a huge kid, he plays big. He's physical. He likes to hit on the offensive side of the ball. Every time he touches the ball, it could be a touchdown. And he played really well last night. And he's made a lot of plays on the offensive side of the ball last night as well. And playing every snap, it's tough to do. But he's the kind of guy that you got to have your football players on the field playing football. And he's just so good on both sides of the ball. But it's tough to go 4 quarters doing that. But he really does a great job of giving everything he has on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, and he is just a playmaker. I mean, he's just an outstanding football player, and I'm glad he plays for Arnold. Yeah.
It's awesome. Do you want to take a look at some of the other highlights we have from out this season? I know we've pulled some from multiple games just from this past season, and then we obviously have Will Cotter, and I've noticed him becoming more comfortable running, and I think that's really been such a positive thing, obviously, for you guys. I've seen him become more comfortable in himself, not needing to get rid of the ball. How have you kind of just this past season seen Will grow as a quarterback, as a leader? Yeah, I see, Yeah,
in the off season, I don't think there's anybody that spent more time in the weight room that worked harder than Will. He's a 200-pound kid, and when he runs, when he's able to, and one thing about it is our pass protection has been phenomenal. It's gotten better every single week, and last night our pass protection was as good as I've ever seen. But Will was still able to slide out when he needed to, and when he gets into the secondary, he's usually the biggest guy in it. So that's an opportunity for him to to make an impact, and he made some big runs last night and some big plays, and he's gotten better throughout the year. He struggled at times, and I think having to play 4 games without his quarterback coach there, was tough. And I think that I don't know that we ever caught up from that. But last night, I think he played some of his better football. I don't think he's played his best football yet. He played really well last night at times. Hopefully, with this last one coming up next week, that we're going to see his best football, and I'm excited to see him do it.
For sure. at this point in the season, I remember last time we talked, you were talking about how you felt like you were kind of running you felt like you're running. Where do you feel like you are now?
Well, we kind of just feel like we're starting to get caught up. And here it's at the end with a week left, we've kind of probably lost our opportunity to make the postseason, so I was hoping to give that to these guys on the back end, with what they lost in the beginning, but, kind of feel like we're catching up now. But it's week 11, so, it's a little tough. And that's one of the frustrating things about what all went on earlier in the season. The things that happened was that, it put us behind the 8 ball and that's frustrating. I'm not going to talk a lot about that. I'm pretty bothered by it, but, it's what it is. Our kids have dealt with that adversity. I could not be more proud. I told those guys after the game last night that I don't want another football team. That I love that football team. I love those guys, and that I was so happy that they were my team and not anyone else. So, and the fact that we've been, and we talked about it, we've been through a lot together. And for those guys to continue to keep the faith and continue to play hard and continue to give me everything they got, I tell you, I'm so proud of them. And again, I don't want another team. I love the one I have, and I'm very excited to see them finish the season next week. Yeah.
Is there anything you're looking forward to seeing in this last game? Anything at all?
Yeah, honestly, regardless of whether, it's the last game and all that, I'd like to still see us play our best football. I don't think this team has played its best football. I don't think we've had that opportunity. As you play every, there's always growth from week to week to week as the season goes on. You talked about Walton earlier, and they've done that. Being a team, new head coach, and they've grown throughout the season. Holmes County has done the same thing. And I think with us, with the situation we are, we're a little bit behind where we might have been or should have been. So I'm hoping that next week, and what I really know is what I told them after the game last night, that I'd like to see us play our best football, next week and finish this thing out.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you said it yourself that you saw some life behind them over at Rickards. I think hopefully, do you see that translating into week 11 now that we're here in week 11? Yeah,
I mean, honestly, we were really close to being a pretty good football team last night. Defensively, we really played well. Offensively, we played great at times. At other times, not as much. If we can continue to clean that up and continue to improve that, I still think that we have an opportunity to go out and play a really good football game and finish this thing on a high note.
That's awesome.
Well, we would love to see that as well.
And speaking of, we can get into next week's matchups.
Yep.
All right, and we got Cottondale versus Graceville, and then Maclay versus Walton, South Walton versus Mariana, and Bozeman.
And then Thursday, FSU High for Mosley. I haven't seen FSU High play yet, but I know Mosley's on a grind.
Mosley,
right now, so.
It'll be a good week for Mosley, I think.
It was a good week this week for Mosley as well. And then Freeport going on the road to North Florida Christian. North Haven also going on the road over to Sneed's Pirates. And then Arnold taking on Rutherford right here. Did you say that was at Tommy Oliver?
At Tommy Oliver, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a Thursday game?
No, it's Friday.
Friday. Okay. You guys get the Friday night? All right. And
Friday night Tommy.
Friday night Tommy. All right. And Destin versus Port St. Joe, and Central at Weewahitchka. Chipley versus Lafayette. I don't think I'm saying that right.
Lafayette.
Yeah, it's Lafayette.
Lafayette. Yeah, sorry. And then Holmes County we don't have a team that they're playing yet, but we will find that out. So, yeah, I think that's all the games we have for next week.
Oh, I think that's Op Alabama.
Op?
That's a town. That's Op Alabama.
I'm like, okay.
Anyways. You're not from around here.
That was my bad. I'm sorry, Coach.
I don't think anyone would look at that and not think it meant it was just a random opponent if they didn't know there was an Op in Alabama nearby. So,
anyways, all right. On that note,
that's awesome.
For Coach Jason Griffin, I'm Karli Koskovich.
Delaney Vega, thank you so much for joining us again.
Yes.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
And good luck heading into week 11 as well.
Thank you so much.
Yes. All right, that's all we have for you guys tonight. Join us next week for Friday Night Fever Afterburn Week 11.
Bye, y'all.